And we're off. It is Car Con Carne, the world's only food podcast recorded in a car, sponsored by our friends at Boost Mobile. The phone I'm doing the Facebook Live on is from Boost Mobile. My entire family is on the Boost Mobile plan. The Samsung Galaxy S9 is courtesy of Boost Mobile. That right there, a Chicago favorite, the much beloved Frank Orrall of Poi Dog Pondering.
Thank you, brother.
It's Car Con Carne. Let's eat in the car. It's Car Con Carne. And now here's the star of our show, James Van Alstyne.
We are outside City Winery. We're on, I don't even know, we're right off Randolph here. City Winery isn't really a to-go type food place, but they gave us food to go tonight.
Yep, not
and the
bad.
reason why we're at City Winery is because in just, a week and a half, you're here solo.
Yeah, I'm going to do a solo show August 2nd. Yeah.
So I want to talk about the show. I want to talk about you. I want to talk about Poi Dog Pondering. We have City Winery food, and I suspect this is not the kind of thing you want to let get cold.
Let's dig in. Man.
Okay, let's dig in. Now, you ordered duck tacos, and you ordered that without hesitation. Is that like a regular thing for you?
I've never had it before, so I thought I want to try it. Yeah, I love duck, so I'm down with the duck. This cracks me up. I just have to say this.
Did you say down on purpose because of duck?
I didn't think of that. Let's duck down on those duck tacos. Peas and carrots. You know the things with movies, like when they peas and carrots, rhubarb. You know, like when people need to talk in the background, they need to look like they're.
All right, so you got duck tacos. I got scallops. We're breaking the fish barrier tonight on the podcast. Duck tacos. And again, this isn't a typical arrangement here for City Winery. They were kind enough, because you're Frank Orrall, they provided food to go. Do you eat before you play, or do you have to wait until after you're off stage?
I'll eat like a couple pieces of cheese. Maybe
Cheese,
a cracker.
really?
Yeah, I mean,
you don't get like dairy throat?
Nothing. I have a throat like a tank. I was a street musician for about, for a long time, and so my throat, like, nothing stops it. I mean, literally, except for a really bad cold. But I don't know. But in other words, like, say backstage, there might be like some cheese and crackers or some crudité or something like that, and that I can do before showtime. All
right. So what is this? This is burrata?
That's the burrata. Yeah.
I don't know what burrata is.
It's a cheese. It's a kind of like it's got mozzarella on the outside, and then kind of like then they've got a lot of bread. We're mostly just seeing the bread there, but it's a really nice. It's like kind of got like a mozzarella on the outside, and then ricotta on the inside.
So they clearly packed this because you are Chef Frank.
Maybe, I don't know, but I love me some burrata.
See, it's funny. I had a friend absolutely freak out when I said that you were going to be doing this podcast with me tonight, and the irony is you were such an approachable, down-to-earth dude. Like, there's nothing rock star about you other than the really cool rock star shirt.
Right on. Yeah, good. I mean, I've met. First of all, I love people. I mean, that's where everything happens. Like, I love meeting people. I love getting to know what people do. I love people that do all kinds of things for a living. And I couldn't imagine ever isolating myself from that. And the other thing, too, is that, like, I've warmed up for enough people in my life that I watched enough famous people act badly. I remember going, like, I'm not going to do that. I'm not, like, if anyone ever comes up and talks to me, we're going to talk. And there's, it's just, but that's just a side cart to the fact that I really find people fascinating. So it's really fun. That's why I love doing the chef nights. Because,
I want to talk about this. Frank goes to people's houses, picks out a menu, cooks for them, and plays in their homes. Yeah. I mean, there's a certain fearlessness, I think, in doing that.
It's really fun. I mean, like, I fell into it by accident. I was doing, I was missing, I did start out as a street musician, and then I love playing on stage. I love it, so where you really think about the show, you put in, like, surprise elements, you always have tricks up your sleeve. There's all these things that show day, I just love it. Mm-hmm. But I also love just sitting around the living room strumming the songs and, playing and, and figuring out the chords on the spot, And so, like, if somebody says, what about Dylan? And you go, okay, what are the chords to that song? And then work it out. I miss that kind of thing. And so I started doing some living room concerts about 15 years ago. But it was kind of like a weird situation. Like, you would show up at the house. They would say, the party starts around 8. Why don't you come around, 8 o'clock and then have a drink and then play maybe around 8:30 or 9. And I wouldn't get to know the people first, and I'd be playing for them. And I was kind of going, well, I'm in your house. Like, they were thinking we should be eating dinner first. We should be having a glass of wine. And then...
Do you figure out what songs to play just based on the people you meet?
I don't even think about what I'm going to play till I get to the house.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, like, first thing I do is I get to the house 4 hours early. I prep for 4 hours before anyone gets there because I need to have my prep time, and so I get that done, and then the people come, and then we hang out, we have dinner, and then later on we play music, and then when we sit down and play music, it's totally. I'll maybe start with a song, just to get things going. Then after that, it's like what people want to hear or what they. I just let it follow the flow.
This is so fascinating because I think so many musicians are introverted by nature. I mean, on stage, they explode, they come alive. You are not that person. And I guess going back to being a street performer, like busking on I mean, that takes a certain level of courage and fearlessness.
I was scared to hell the first time I did it.
Were you?
Yeah, for sure. First time I played on the street, I was like, yeah.
Well, let's jump around a little bit. I want to talk about Chef Frank and all your different performing stuff. But I just thought about, in terms of being afraid to perform somewhere, what was it like when you played Letterman?
There's the burrata. There you go.
Okay.
So that's like kind of got. You can see it's got the like hard mozzarella on the outside, then the soft like.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, soft ricotta on the inside.
Ooh, that's delicious.
Yeah.
Do you remember playing Letterman?
I sure do. I remember everything about it.
Were you scared?
No, I wasn't scared. I was exhilarated. I was like, I was pretty reckless in those days. I mean, not what I mean is reckless. The reckless is not really the right way, but in other words, like, I showed up in New York to play the David Letterman show without a guitar. I knew my friend Arnie would have a guitar. I was like, Arnie, can I borrow your guitar? Yeah. So I borrowed Arnie's guitar. So I'm playing Arnie's Gibson on that thing, or Guild. I don't know what it was now. I think it's a Gibson, but and we showed up and I had holes in my jeans. I mean, it was just like, but that's just the way. That's the way I dressed. I never. My whole thing is like, it's not that I sleep in my stage clothes, and so whatever my clothes are, that's what I wear. And then and we went on the show, and the things I remember about it was really cold. David likes the cold studio. They were really nice to us. They gave us a room that we sat in. We waited for Dave. Dave came in with like a basketball, wearing like sweats, and he'd just come from playing basketball. Went into his room. He came by, said hello to us. They went into his room, came out with his suit on. And it's like, they shoot that thing at like 4 PM, and we went and played it. And I was, to be really honest, I was not into it because I had kind of like a young punk attitude about Paul Schaefer. I kind of thought that he was like just a jobber musician,
A jobber.
And as an ex-punk, I have like I have strong feelings about that kind of stuff. I go, he doesn't care. He's just up there doing whatever it is. We got there. Those guys learned our song verbatim. They took the time to learn it, and they gave it the love. That here's the thing about playing the David Letterman show back in those days. You had to use his band.
Yeah, right.
And so that was kind of a piss off to us. We were pissed off that we had to use their band. And but it was good promotion. We just thought, okay, we're going to do it. But we were a little bit cocky about it. But Bruce, our bass player, is playing glockenspiel, and we put everybody in the band.
You found a way to make it work.
Yeah. And then, but we went away with respect for Paul and the whole band. Like, they learned the song. They gave it love. They treated it right. They ran it till we were happy with it. And I ate my words afterwards. I was going, right on. That was cool.
And jumping back to the Chef Frank, how long have you been doing that now?
I've been I don't know. Good question. 12 years, maybe 15 years.
So you're a food fan. You're a foodie. You're a food enthusiast.
I like to eat.
How does that come out of being a touring musician? Because you're working on per diems, you're running close to the bone. How do you even get the chance to explore food and like immerse yourself in just good dining?
No, good question. I mean, even when we were street musicians, and we would make like $12 to $15 a day.
That's as a band.
That's as a band. So we would still, if we were around a place that had a kitchen, we camped out a lot during that time. Also, we traveled across the states doing it.
Sure, you slept on a lot of floors.
Yeah, and we slept on the floors. So if there was a kitchen, you can take that $15 and you can buy a terrible bottle of red wine. We always had wine with dinner, so you get a terrible bottle of red wine. You get
a good bottle of red wine, by the way, can be found at City Winery.
Yeah, there you go.
Uh-huh.
And we would buy pasta and peas and a little jar of olive oil and maybe some, oregano or something like that, maybe a can of tuna fish, and all of a sudden you have pasta for like 6 people.
It's like one of those food challenges on a Food Network show.
Yeah.
Here are your shitty ingredients.
Yeah.
Make a meal out of it.
Yeah.
Make something magical.
So I mean, even back then we were trying to eat, but I mean, like, and then the touring thing. That's an interesting question. So I'm like kind of circling around it because, then the other thing is that you go out on the road and then you're looking for something good, and I can't really eat that much before the show. So I mean, like, good for me can be like, at that time when Poi Dog was out, I was Pesch-catarian. Mm-hmm. So I would be at the truck stop. I would just get the cheese sandwich.
You only ate Joe Pesci, is what
exactly.
That means, yes.
Yeah.
Which is weird.
Yeah. Salty too.
But Italian, if you like Italian.
Yeah, right, exactly. And then later on, we sort of got into food. I mean, this is going to be terrible. This is going to sound terrible, but when we got signed to Sony, we were actually being pursued by a few labels at the same time.
Sure.
So Max used to have this thing: whoever takes us out to the best dinner gets to sign us.
I think that was the norm. I mean,
so we were like pushing that stuff. We were like going out.
That was that era,
the best
though, right?
wine.
I mean,
it's like and then so I mean that maybe put a little bit of taste in our mouth for the food, but. Certainly later on, like when you're on tour, you can eat a lot. The clubs will Tipitinas. We used to play Tipitinas in New Orleans. They used to put out fried fish, fried shrimp, fried French fries. They would do the whole thing like this. They go, "Here's your employee meal," and be like, "There's no way I can eat that and go on stage." And so I sort of learned, and a few of us in the band sort of learned right away to just go take your money and after sound check go eat somewhere really well, and maybe you just eat someplace really good and just eat really well, like have a nice salad, have a nice like appetizer, have a nice thing, digest before the show. But so I got into just spending my per diem like on one meal a day, and
you made it count.
Yeah, made it count. Yeah, exactly. And I still do that to this day. Yeah,
that's smart. All right, I do want to mention as we're working on the podcast, I want to make sure we are eating the food.
Oh yeah.
They gave us something called the snack trio. It looks like, what are we looking at here?
This is very unusual for them.
This is popcorn of some sort. And I know it's going to have some kind of twist.
Wow, that's delicious, but I don't even know what it is.
Try the popcorn.
There's a pretzel.
There's a taste I can't nail, but I'm sure you can.
I don't know, is that herbs?
I taste sugar in there.
Yeah, there's sugar for sure. That thing, I don't know what it is. It's tasty, though.
All right. That's how good City Winery is. We don't know what we're eating, and we love it. Oh, wow. It's got a little sweet and savory thing going on there.
Yeah.
My goodness. So you're stretching the dollar. You're touring. The Sony thing just didn't work out. Would you say that Pomegranate was the Declaration of Independence for Poi Dog Pondering?
Absolutely. Good call. I like your style there. That's totally true. I mean, we got off of Sony. We got dropped by Sony, which was great because I didn't like it and I was glad to get off of it.
Well, for someone who has a self-described punk rock spirit, I mean, that is like the biggest of the major label, we will crush you, empire type.
And I was very happy on our indie. We were on a little indie called Texas Hotel. We were just great art forward folks, friends with all the REM guys. Like their idea of a trip would be, let's go to visit some folk artists. Their idea of like how we're going to hang out together. And then, but like when you're band leader for a lot of people, and then there's interest from a label, and all of a sudden your manager and your lawyer and your band members are kind of looking at you like you can't look this in the mouth. It's actually like a big deal.
Yeah.
They can get us national. They can
Yeah.
do. So it's like, we had it like it's it's a weird way that things make sense. And then, but I was never really comfortable with that. So when we did get dropped, when we did start our own label, it was like, as you say, it was definitely like a rebirth, and I felt like we got our integrity back. I felt like we, and we've never looked back. We've just kept our own label, and it gives us just beautiful, just like we don't have to question what we think about it. If we just feel like doing something, we just do it. And that was the biggest thing for me. Like going, we would decide, let's do this, and then someone go, are you sure you want to? Are you sure that's a really good idea? And all of a sudden you're going, I'm not sure if that's a really good idea. And there's just no way to live,
Yeah, it's impossible to stay true to your art.
Yeah.
With that mindset. And that kind of leads to my next question. You're doing a solo show here at City Winery. Again, we're outside City Winery at Randolph, and is this Aberdeen? Racine, maybe? I think maybe Racine. We're outside City Winery. You're doing a solo show.
Wow, fucking hell. Sorry.
So
it is Racine.
So you're doing a solo show here on April 2nd. Poi Dog Pondering, I mean, really, especially ever since that moment in the mid-'90s when you had your Declaration of Independence, Poi Dog has been whatever you've said it'll be musically. You've made musical statements. You draw from absolutely everything. Soul, house, opera, for God's sakes. I mean, you dig into all of it, which makes me wonder, why does something need to be a Frank Orrall solo record? I mean, couldn't the songs you write fall under Poi Dog because Poi Dog is whatever you say it's going to be?
No, good question. I think that, and my first solo record that I made is a good description of why that happened, and that is because I have been very. I let Poi Dog change radically with my every whim, you know. I say we moved to Chicago, then we got very enveloped in the whole house music world. So with that, and it caused a lot of problems. You know, people kind of freaked out a little bit, but also people loved it. Other people loved it. It was like all these kind of things. But also, I realized that there's, even as eclectic as Poi Dog is, there's a thing that Poi Dog does. And if I'm too cavalier with changing around, it really kind of throws people a little bit. So if I keep Poi Dog kind of in this realm, and I create this other thing where I can do the more experimental things, it kind of keeps Poi Dog a little more stable. And so, for instance, that first, if you'll notice, the first solo record I did is almost all spoken word. And it's all these spoken word things that I would float by the band, and they wouldn't necessarily like. They would be like, I don't know about that one. They'd always wind up on the B list, you know.
Are they overly polite in the way they dismiss you?
No,
like, no, I don't know, Frank.
No, it's just sort of like, it's more just a way of like, you know, like I might put something like Never Trade These Days, which is like a 12-minute long talking poem. And then I might put Butterflies, which is, you know, kind of like something else. And they go like, oh, I love that one, Butterflies. You know, it's
right.
like that kind of thing. So it's all right. Like like in other words, there's enough material coming out. There's enough things where the way I look at it is that almost like my solo stuff is kind of like this launch pad for these other ideas, because sometimes I'll put out songs that maybe got passed over. Like I'll put them out to the band, and people, they won't react to them, but I'll put them on the solo record, and they'll be like, "How come we're not doing that song live?" And then I circle them back into the mix, and then
Sure.
So they get a little test flight, and the band gets to see how they are, you know. And it's not that like they're very encouraging, and they're super creative, and it's not like they're not willing to take risks. It's just that I am really interested in a wide variety of music, and I have to figure out a way to present that so that way everybody's comfortable, including the band and even people who like the records and things like that. I can't be as cavalier as maybe I would normally be.
With the volume of people who've played in and around Poi Dog Pondering through the decades now, how do you know for sure that I wasn't a member at some point? Maybe I played clarinet for
I
you.
totally thought you looked familiar when
Yeah,
you
see?
came in the restaurant.
You don't know for sure, do you? It's so many people in and around the band.
I know, I was looking back over one of our, like, we used to make these homemade cassette albums, and it's like, there was some guy that we met in San Francisco who was our mandolin player, and I looked at the thing, and it was like, I can't remember this guy's name now, but it just said, Jesus, parentheses, the mandolin player.
Now, I'm sure you're well aware, next year is the 30th anniversary since your debut.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. 88. Yeah, you're right. Okay.
Well, now you're aware.
Now I'm aware.
I know 25th was a thing. 30th seems like a thing too.
Yeah. That causes for some duck.
We're busting open the duck tacos. All right, can you try to hold that up since we're on Facebook Live?
Okay, so can you see that at all? It's hard to see.
It
right?
smells amazing.
Yeah, it does.
Oh
okay,
my gosh!
It kind of looks like Kahlua pig for any of those Hawaiians out there. It's got that Kahlua pig look.
Your history
to it.
is so fascinating to me. You just effortlessly talk about coming to Chicago, my time in Hawaii. I mean, you've done so much, you've experienced so much, and it's awesome. I mean,
Thanks,
it's made you the musician you are today.
Yeah,
The cultural bouillabaisse you've kind of built your career on.
That's delicious.
That looks amazing. All right, this is going to be an adventure, Frank. I have the gazpacho from City Winery, which looks delicious. I know there's corn in here. Clearly there's corn. I don't think I have a spoon.
Oh, shit. Sorry. Can
That's
you
okay.
swear on this thing?
Sure you
I
can.
swear like a sailor.
It's a podcast.
Okay.
No.
Yeah, no spoon. You
So I
can
might-
just drink that thing like a...
I might
Like a
drink
cocktail.
this like a cocktail. So, cheers. Gonna have some gazpacho. I haven't had gazpacho in years. I love this is the time of year, and this is it.
For real. Mm-hmm. I know it's one like when the weather hit like this.
Oh man,
Tasty.
this is so flavorful.
When we had that super hot blast, one of the first thing I made was gazpacho and Greek salad. It was like those, they're just like,
You like the feta?
yeah, also just good, cool, good, cool food for hot weather.
I'm gonna slurp on microphone, which is it's sexy. It's sexy. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
So, do you have a favorite? Like, I know you like to do a lot of. Correct me if I'm wrong. Locally sourced. Like to be kind of mindful with the ingredients you pull together.
Yeah, I started out that way. I know now that that's on the website. I mean, to be honest, I started out that way, and then it became hard to do. You know what I mean? It's like even Whole Foods is like, which, used to be straight up Whole Food store. I mean, what do you call it? Yeah, Whole Food store, health food store. Now it's kind of evolved into where you have to really look for the organic stuff, or even the local stuff's hard to find. I would say that's one of my biggest frustrations about doing stuff now is that you go out to eat and you might get like shiso leaf at a Japanese restaurant, that nice fragrant leaf, and you can't find it anywhere unless I go to Mitsuya way on the north side, or I went to the Bad Hunter down there and they had like pea tendrils, which are like the big long. They look like and I can't find them in a store anywhere.
So, all right.
So that makes me crazy. I wish there was, like the way Stanley's up there on Elston. I wish there was one that was like just all from Michigan, Wisconsin, Illinois, and then you just bought stuff in there. I would support that.
Do you have a favorite type of cuisine? Like, if you were to put together the quintessential Frank Orrall menu for one of your house parties for Chef Frank, how would it lean? Would it be Asian?
I love both. I mean, my two favorite zones are the Mediterranean. Spain, France, Morocco, Italy, Greece, Turkey. That whole going up to Turkey and everything, that whole area. And then I love Japanese and Vietnamese. Well, those are my things. When I would say if you were gonna take me out back and shoot me, I would cook some oxtails, like Jamaican style oxtails, which is Spanish style, which is the Jamaicans do it the way the Spanish do it, where you cook it slowly and so it's kind of like a slow braised, kind of like beef bourguignon kind of a situation.
I love Jamaican food. I cannot find many good places for
Yeah.
it in the area.
Yeah.
Do you ever get tired of? Are there songs you get tired of playing, or do you look at them as kind of like a treat for the audience? Do you look at it from that perspective?
Yeah. No. We have a kind of a policy in Poi Dog. Like I'll put up a general list of songs before the show. Like I'll say we'll probably play 25 songs in the course of a night, maybe 28, something
Which
like that.
is a big. I mean, that right there, that's epic. You're getting your money's worth.
And then I'll make a list. I'll make a like kind of initial list of about 40 songs. And I'll ask people for their chops and ads, meaning like if they want to, they don't want to play the song. And the thing is, if somebody doesn't want to play a song, then we just take it off the list. So that way, nobody's ever playing something that they don't want to play. And then we.
It's fairly democratic.
Yeah, and then that's how the songs keep from getting dry. And then we introduce songs that we haven't done for a little while. And but it is really true that to me, there's a different thing that happens when you play a song for people. And if people appreciate the song has its own life, to it. And so if people are appreciating it, sometimes I'll do songs I do selfishly because I really want to do them. Sometimes we do songs because we know that people would love us to do the song. And I there was a time when I moved to Chicago, we never played anything from the first 3 records when we moved up here. We were just getting off of the whole Sony Columbia thing.
And you were trying to carve a new path musically.
Yeah, and we just didn't even play any of the stuff. And it was some people were kind of upset about it, but it was like kind of it was a way to kind of, and I was kind of like, I don't want to play that stuff anymore, but I totally changed. I don't feel it that way now. I sort of love all of our babies,
I get that. And, that was a different time, and you were making a much different musical statement.
We needed to make a break, and start over. And,
I totally get that.
Yeah.
You're playing City Winery on the 2nd. Is that a sort of situation where you do 25 songs, or do you scale it back if you're solo?
I don't know how many songs I'm doing, but it'll be a full set. I'm sort of developing this show called the Suitcase Show, where when I was a kid, my dad was an astronomer. He used to travel. He would be gone a lot, and his thing was he would go to wherever there was a solar eclipse, because he was a solar physicist, and all his things was always studying the corona. And
how cool for you as a kid to just be aware of that as your father's vocation.
Yeah, and that's how we wound up in Hawaii, because on top of the volcano, there's very good observatories.
That's amazing
stuff. So that's how we wound up there. But so I would always be like, my dad would come home from these trips, and he would come home with a suitcase, and that suitcase was like supercharged. Couldn't wait for him to open the suitcase, because out of it would come he'd go to Puka Puka, and he'd come back with a carved canoe for my brother one time. That was unbelievable. He'd come back in a shawl from Bolivia from my mom.
Oh my God. So
these things are and then
I'm regretting every snow globe I brought home for my kids right now, by the way.
Yeah. And then so the idea for this show is just where I first it came out of being this idea of I want to be able to take a show around. Poi Dog can only really go to certain cities. You could go to New York, San Francisco, Austin. We just went to Cleveland. That was nice. Seattle. It's hard for us to go to other cities. There's too many of us. We can't really afford to make it happen.
Right. You're like Trans-Siberian Orchestra at this point.
Yeah, there's 15. I was it's hard. But and then if I go out with a small group of people, as Poi Dog Pondering, people always say to me, "Where's everybody else?" And so I thought, okay, all right, I can't do that. I'm going to go out as Frank Orrall, and then I can go hit these smaller cities, and maybe I can wake up some of these cities so that way the band can come back through.
That's smart.
So then the thing about this, so there's the idea of the Suitcase Show again. It's like a show that I can put in the suitcase, and I use video, and I edit together these video backing tracks that go along with it, where I videotape myself playing some of the instruments, very close up, so you just see my hands on the stuff like that. But it gives people a visual, and so that's what I'm going to be doing, and it's a show that I'm developing, and then I'm going to get in the station wagon for about 2 months and just run around the States.
That's smart.
Maybe Europe.
You are Poi Dog's warm-up act.
Yeah.
In other markets.
Exactly.
I know you're working on a new Poi Dog EP.
Yep.
Right now. Now, I think that's kind of remarkable that you're even here right now, because my understanding of you, when you're in the writing process, you're all in. You're basically sleeping near a mixing board and a guitar.
Yeah. I like to be totally immersive when that's happening. You kind of catch everything like the butterfly nets.
So am I fucking you up right now?
No, I'm good. It's good to take a break too.
Okay.
Well, good Lord. You can't sit alone with yourself too long with the guitar and the pen and paper. It's
and I should say, I met Frank at City Winery tonight. I'm just standing around by the host stand. Frank emerges from the dining room, glass of wine in one hand, acoustic guitar slung over his shoulder. It's like everything you'd want to have happen when you meet Frank Orrall at a place like City Winery. It was,
thanks,
it was perfect. We talked a little bit about just all the different things that make you, your cultural experiences. Chicago is such a big part of who you are at this point. I guess speak to that. Speak about your Chicago-ness, your embeddedness with this community, and respect. All due respect to people who are watching on Facebook Live right now. I know someone from Colorado just chimed in, but talk a little bit about Chicago, because it seems it's like such a big part of who Poi Dog is.
Yeah, it's interesting. Every city kind of injects the band with something. Like when we were coming up in Hawaii, Hawaii's got it's a place that's stranded in the middle of the Pacific. We got all of our information by reading the NME and the Melody Maker.
Yeah.
We're very British, because we're, we didn't really read Rolling Stones, stuff like that. We read the Melody Maker and things like that. But so your imagination goes like that. Hawaii formed us in a certain way. Then we went to Austin, and Austin had its own vibe. Anything from country western swing to the Butthole Surfers to, it was just this whole wide spectrum of stuff. And then we got supported in a certain way there, and then we moved to Chicago, and then we came to Chicago because we would tour through here. We'd do this great corridor, which is you leave Austin, then you come up and you go through Kansas City and Lawrence and Columbia, St. Louis, and they come into Chicago, and it was just like, I used to love that run. I mean, it was great college towns, great stuff. And then we come to Chicago, and we got like treated really nicely by by the Lounge Acts gals, Sue and Julia.
Yeah.
They were always so friendly to us, and Max was good friends with them, and that so when
And you
everything
didn't
kind of
play
washed
Lounge
out,
Acts as Poi Dog, though, right?
we sure did. Yeah.
You also did a lot of like,
Before we moved here, we would go play there as Poi Dog.
right.
And then when the Austin band the Austin lineup of Poi Dog kind of fell apart after Columbia, and Max and I moved up here to like just regroup and get our heads together and think about what we want to do. And both of us wanted to live in a big city.
Yeah.
I never had that experience before, and so we came up here, and then and we started playing solo shows, Max and I, at Lounge Acts.
That's what I was thinking.
As an idea generator and as a way to meet other players and things like that. And then also the Millie's Orchid Show was huge, because we used to play in her band, and then we would see all these performance artist people, and we would see House of Maddox. We would see all these people come through there, so that we quickly met a lot of creative people in town. And then, so Chicago's been huge for us. It's been like super supportive and super inspiring, so I can't imagine living anywhere else,
That's. I was going to ask that. I mean, you dropped anchor here in the mid '90s. It seems like you're not going anywhere.
Yeah, no, I'm. This is my creative center. It's like, I go home to Hawaii to recharge, and that feeds me really strongly creatively.
That satisfies your wanderlust.
Yeah, and here I can get down to work. That's why I feel like I can get down to work and get things done.
It's that whole notion of like the woodshedders.
Yeah.
Town, especially in the winter.
And I love the winter. People go, "Oh, the winter must be terrible." Man, I don't mind at all. Bring the winter on. I'll dig in, stock the house with some wine, some groceries, and then just work.
Yeah. Speaking of wine, City Winery on the 2nd.
Yep, August 2nd
of April. It is Frank Orrall solo and amazing. Poi Dog continues, and we will see Poi Dog again in the fall with a new. How far along is this EP? Are you just kind of?
It's an interesting phase. I really put it on. Here's the thing. Every time we make a record, we make it in a different way. We've never recorded in the same studio twice. We like you said Racine. I remember now we had a studio in this. That's why I flipped out when you said Racine. It's like we used to have a studio there. So before we did In Sea Comes Fruit, we woodshedded most of the stuff inside there. That building right there.
No, is it superstition that keeps you from recording in the same place, or just
no? It's literally just like say when we moved to town, we started recording at Battery Studios, but we wanted more time. We don't like to go in the studio. Like when you go in the studio and you're paying by the hour, everybody stresses out about I got to get a good take, and then they don't get a good take because they're stressing out.
Because you're forcing it. Yeah.
So then what we'll do is we'll rent stuff. So we rent an old disused basketball gym in Cabrini Green to record Pomegranate, and then. For Natural Thing, we had a space on like Fullerton. It was a rehearsal space, and we recorded a lot of it out of there. The In Sea Comes Fruit we did down on Milwaukee Avenue. We had a space down there. We did a lot of the work there, and at Studio Chicago. And then we did 7 in an old Zenith in Wall to Wall Studios, which was an old Zenith television studio.
That's amazing.
Yeah, and then so this time, but go back to your original question. Is that a lot of times we'll demo up a bunch of songs, and we'll go in the studio and we'll throw almost all of them out and walk away with songs that we wrote in the studio. So this time I'm going like, we're going to bypass that whole process completely. I just we're just going to make the record right now. So everything we're doing is like going to make the record. So when you ask me where the process is, the process right now is me putting together like a few starting points, and then we're right in the moment right now where me and Ted and Martin, who are the 2 engineers. Ted's the guitar player and Martin's our co-producer engineer, and we kind of work as a team producing the records. Is that we're going to start sending it out to the band, and everybody's just going to start working at it. People love to do it in their home studios.
Sure.
Like Susan says, like, she loves to like have her pajamas on and do all of her string parts all day long, rather than like getting in the car, going in the studio and doing it for 2 hours. So she gets to spend all the time she wants to create what she wants, and then we put the pieces back together and we see what they are, and we kind of stretch out the song from there. So it's a nice process, and it's going to be a new one for us this time, because I literally have not sent out any demos to the band at all. I'm just surprising them with them.
That's amazing. And I do have a lot of bands who listen to this podcast, and I think one great takeaway, and it may be something they already knew about you and Poi Dog, just you're doing art for its own sake. You're following your muse. And
it blows my mind every time we're on stage, and I look over and I see Cornell. Cornell's like he's fire chief up in Racine. There's Doug Julin. All these people. They're busy with their own things, but they still manage to come together for these shows and to do this thing. And it's out of love. It's out of love. That's true.
I love it.
Yeah.
Frank Orrall, on the 2nd, you're here at City Winery. We've been eating City Winery's food. Thank you, City Winery.
Yeah, thank you.
For feeding us tonight and giving us yummy food.
Delicious.
That gazpacho is ridiculous. The duck smells amazing. This podcast is brought to you by Boost Mobile. If you like it, please tell a friend. And please continue to support this man, his band, amazing music. That is Frank Orrall right there, for God's sakes.
How do you do, folks? Thank you.